Um, so we were talking about how, I'll just repeat just for the recording, how people like the drama of things and how cool things seem, but they don't know the reality, right? So when you talk about marriage, say, oh, it's going to be romantic and this and that, and that's not what marriage is about. So I remember a particular scene I will share with people. I say, a particular scene with myself and my wife, for example, was Googling how to clean up sick from a carpet. So I remember my son, Mikhail, the first time he threw up. It was scary. And I contacted my brother who's a doctor, and I said, Mikhail threw up. And he's like, okay. I said, yeah, but he's never done that. It's like, how does a 6-year-old baby never throw up? I said, yeah, this is the first time he's ever thrown up. And we were scared, like, is he okay? Is he all right? And it was 1 a.m. and we were cleaning up the sick from the carpet, and we Googled how to clean vomit from the carpet. And there's a trick, you can put soda baking powder and it dries it up and takes out the smell. So is marriage a honeymoon? Is marriage flowers? Is marriage, no, marriage is two people working together. That's marriage, going through difficulties. What did you do when I was in jail? What did I do when she was sick? When I was going through a mental problem, when she almost died, when this happened, when that happened. That's called marriage, right? That's called marriage. So people that what they're looking for is the wrong thing. They're looking for the wrong thing. And so what that means then necessarily is going to be difficult because it wouldn't be worth anything if it wasn't difficult. What does Shakespeare say? He said, the path of true love never did run smooth. If it runs smooth, it's not true love. Simple as that. Right? If it's cheap, it's not worth it. Anything that's cheap is not worth it. Here's this really big house in Hollywood for $1. There's something wrong with it. It's not worth it. Whenever you see a house, the house, 15 acres for $500, impossible. 15 acres for $500, impossible. If it's cheap, it's not worth it. So you want to have something, but you don't want to pay the price. That's what people want. Right? So this is I'm talking about marriage, right? It's hard. It's not easy. So next time someone's like, I want to get married, ask them, do you like vomit? Ask them. What are you talking about? But that's real, right? That's reality.
Reality.
It's reality. So what are you gonna do when you helping how are you gonna help your wife? She's throwing up in the airport in the airplane. What are you gonna do? That's called marriage. How do you help somebody, support somebody, right? These kind of things, or vice versa. May Allah protect us all. Okay. Okay. Now we're going to Balkh. الشيخ الزاهد شقيق البلخي. So this is Shaqiq al-Balkhi. So we have to understand the importance of Central Asia, right? Afghanistan, Iran, Turkmenistan, Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has blessed these places with lots of ulama, lots of awliya. These are very, very Mubarak places, right? Very, very significant. And so here we have Shaqiq al-Balkhi. And I think I remember him saying, Shaqiq al-Balkhi, he says, I give my ghayrat, or I give my, how do you say it, like my self-respect? How do you say that in Farsi?
Yeah.
Like my ghayrat, right? I give my self-respect as sadaqah for the people of Balkh, meaning you can insult me as much as you want. I give it as sadaqah. You can insult me, you can say anything you want about me. I don't mind. Because I don't need to defend myself, right? So this is a quote from him. So he says, وكان بعض so he says, كان بعض الكبراء يصبر على سوء خلق امرأته. He said one of the great awliya and the great people of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala used to be very patient with the bad akhlaq of his wife. فقيل له في ذلك. So he was told why, or like, why are you patient? Why do you bother? فقال أخشى إن طلقتها أن يتزوجها من لا يصبر على أذاها فيؤذيها. He says, I'm scared that if I divorce her, she will marry somebody else who will not be patient with her, and he will harm her. I'm scared that if I divorce my wife, she'll marry somebody else, and that man will not be patient with her, and he will end up harming her, right? So this is what we're talking about. This is futuwa, chivalry. You are there to give, not to take. Like, why do you bother? She's rude to you. All right, we've seen scenarios that people rude to people in front of their guests. You embarrass me in front of my guests, right? In front of my family, in front of this, in front of that. So yeah, why do I do that? He says, I deal with it because I'm here to help, not to take. I am the nurse in the hospital, right? You know, sometimes the patient will send you a letter, thank you. Sometimes they're not going to send you anything, right? And subhanAllah, once I asked one of my friends and one of my teachers, Sheikh Hatim Yusuf, I said, tell me a book in English. Like, I want to read a book in English that talks about this. He says, read Les Miserables, right? There's a famous book, it's actually French, but it's translated into English by Victor Hugo, right? And it's all about this, people who do things for other people and don't ask for anything. So there's a man, for example, that the story begins, he steals to feed his sister and nephew. Then he goes to jail for 25 years for stealing. And then he breaks out of jail. And then he comes out of jail and he's a criminal and he's been in jail for 25 years. It's kind of messed him up. But somebody helps him. And then he starts a factory. And then this lady dies in his factory. And then she has a daughter. So he goes and finds this daughter and looks after the daughter. And then the daughter wants to get married. So she helps him get married. And then the husband is involved in some political problem. So he helps the husband in the problem. And then he helps everybody out. And then there's a scene where he has to find somebody who's drowning and escape through the sewers. And he has to walk for like 5 miles in the sewers in the dark, carrying this man. And the man wakes up and he doesn't even know that he was saved. He has no idea that he passed out and he was carried through the sewers by this man and just put there in a place where he was safe and nobody knew it. Continual. And then right at the end, he has some money, so he gives the money to his wife, to this girl, and he adopts her so that he can give her the money, but then changes his name so that nobody knows that it was him. And so he dies and nobody knows that he did anything that he did. Right? So it's a story like this, a very long story in French and in English. It's called Les Miserables, right? So this is the this is Sheikh Tamim Ahmadi. This book recently came out, Self-Sacrifice: The Legacy of the Prophet ﷺ. So this is how the Prophet ﷺ was, self-sacrifice, right? So when you ask the question, what am I getting out of this? You're not here to take, you're here to give, right? ويحكى عن شقيق أنه كانت له امرأة سيئة الخلق. And Shaqiq al-Balkhi, from Balkh, of course, in Afghanistan, it's said that his wife had very, very bad akhlaq. فقيل له لماذا لا تفارقها وهي تؤذيك بسوء خلقها. Why do you put up with this? Why do you not divorce her? فقال إن كانت سيئة الخلق فأنا حسن خلق. So it says, if she has bad akhlaq, that means I have good akhlaq. فلو فارقتها صبرت. So if I divorced her, I can be patient. ومع ذلك أخاف ألا يمسكها أحد لسوء خلقها. But I'm scared that no one else is going to marry her. So it's another story. Right? So he's there. We say, why are you in this relationship? Sadaqah. Right? Is sadaqah good? Sadaqah is good. But sadaqah with your money is very easy. Sadaqah with your akhlaq is very hard. To give and give and give and never receive is very hard. And at the end of it, she says, I should have married. At the end of it, they don't appreciate it. Right? That's what the Prophet said. يَكْفُرْنَ الْعَشِيرِ. Right? That a woman does not appreciate everything you do for her. Right? That's even better for you. Right? Or is it إِنَّمَا نُطْعِمُكُمْ لِوَجْهِ اللَّهِ لَا نُرِيدُ مِنْكُمْ جَزَاءً وَلَا شُكُورًا. Right? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions the believers. We're only giving you food for the sake of Allah. I don't want anything back, and I don't want your appreciation. I don't want your appreciation. I'm not giving so that I can put it on my Instagram page. I gave $1 million to the poor. You didn't do that. Similarly, in marriage, you're not giving to somebody, you're not forgiving, you're not being patient in order so the person says, oh, you're a good husband. You don't want that. You're saying, I want it with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, yahmakallah. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes it pure by making sure you have somebody that doesn't appreciate you. And your kids are like, yeah, my dad's a loser. Like, subhanallah. Subhanallah. I did this for my kids. I did this. Kids don't appreciate it. Your wife doesn't appreciate it, right? And so you come on Judgment Day. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, you did this, you did this, you did this, and you did it for my sake, and nobody appreciated it. But ana shakur, I'm the one who appreciates. And I appreciate this thing, and 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 this thing. Every single thing, right? So this is husnul khuluq. May Allah forgive us. And then he mentions the limits. How far can this patience go? Hudud as-sabr ala adha al-azwaj. How far can the patience go? We mentioned before that patience doesn't mean that you don't say anything. Patience means that you process it through Allah. So, for example, again with a woman, a woman who is, I'm patient with my husband. Okay, what does that mean? Well, my husband beats me up every day, and I have a black eye most time. He's broken my arm. He's pushed me out of the car once. Is that good? That's not good, sister. Sister, you're wajib. It's that you have to seek protection. If you can't ask your parents, and this happens, subhanAllah. Imam Bakr mentioned this. So there was a sister in our community. She was hit by her husband with an iron pipe, and her parents said nothing. It's insane because they're like, oh, it's you. Don't embarrass us. Don't embarrass us. Right? That's the culture. It's stupid. Right? So it's wajib. It's wajib. You have to defend yourself. If your parents, your brother, your sister, no one's going to help you, call the police, khalas. That's the wajib. Oh, you embarrassed the police turned up the house and everyone's going to talk about it forever. What am I supposed to do? That's wajib. I cannot let somebody abuse me. Can't do that. Right? But there's a difference between, and similarly, whenever I hear my wife's voice, I start shaking, and I have to take medication. Okay, brother, there's too much, right? There's too much. Okay, like you're traumatized. Whenever I hear that she's coming back, or that you hear her voice, you start shaking, and you have to take medication. That's not good, right? So, رحم الله امرأ عرف قدره ووقف عنده. May Allah show mercy to somebody who knows how much they can take and stops at it, right? This person's fasting Mondays and Thursdays, and now they hate Islam. It's like, brother, don't fast Mondays and Thursdays now. Like if you can't fast Mondays and Thursdays, it's Sunnah, and it makes you hate Islam. And now they have wasawis. Oh, Islam is so hard. I hate Islam. It's so difficult. Don't fast Mondays and Thursdays. It's okay. Just fast Ramadan, right? So when you push yourself too much, it's not good, right? So everybody has a limit, but the issue is people don't go to their limit. You can be more patient, but they don't want to be. Right? So he says, one of the scholars, he says, وهذا كله إذا لم يخف منها أن تصل معه إلى حد إهلاكه بالقتل أو قتل عضو أو نحو ذلك. So he says, all of this should be understood that it doesn't reach the age to the level of murder. So he actually thinks his wife wants to murder him. That's different. Right? This lady's actually trying to kill you, right? As opposed to his wife hits you. So I'm two separate scholars. Again, I mentioned the former Grand Mufti of Jordan. He said 60% of Jordanian men in a poll, they said they have been physically abused by their wife. Right? And and these people are Arabs, right? They get angry, they shout at their wives, they tell their wives off, they do all sorts of things, right? And the sheikh, he said, someone was complaining, my wife says this, he says this. He says, oh, she means she doesn't hit you. That's really good, right? So again, just like a woman who is violent, slightly violent, that's part of being generous. It's okay. Like, oh, my wife pushed you. It's okay. Who cares if your wife pushes you? My wife moved my hand, and I don't move my hand. It's okay. But it's like I have to shout at my wife because she moved my hand, because she took my keys, because she nudged me. It's like, it's okay. Who's bigger, you or your wife? You're bigger, so it's okay. I can deal with, right? وَإِذَا خَاطَبَهُمُ الْجَاهِلُونَ قَالُوا سَلَامًا. When people are rude to them, they say it's okay, right? Someone shouts, "Hey, go back home." They're like, "Nice, Merry Christmas," right? Like that's the adab, right? The adab, the Prophet ﷺ, what the Prophet ﷺ show us in Mecca, exactly this. People abuse you, don't do anything. 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 And then you take control and he comes back to Mecca, forgive everybody. That's the akhlaq. This is akhlaq. When people abuse you, you don't abuse them. And when you have the ability to punish them, you overlook them. Like what is the sunnah if somebody kills your dad? You forgive them. That's the sunnah. That's the sunnah. If you can't do that, you take blood money, they pay. If you can't do that, you say, no, I want them killed. That's your haqq. Okay. But the sunnah is somebody kills your dad, somebody kills your son, somebody kills your brother, you say, I forgive you. You know? Um, so here, this man, I'm scared my wife is trying to kill me or trying to stab me or cut my hand off, right? فإنه يجب أن يطلقها حينئذ دفعا لشرها عنه. It's obligatory in that situation to get her out of the situation, right? Obligatory, right? Same thing again with the husband. My husband is a drug addict and does not work, and he comes and steals my money. Should I be patient? Well, I mean, there's a limit, right? There's a limit to how much you can do that. خصوصا إذا كان ضعيفا لا يقدر على دفع شرها عنه كما وقع عندنا قريبا من في دمشق أن امرأة ذبحت زوجها ولها منه أولاد صغار وورثوا القصاص على أمهم فسقط. Right? So this happened. It says a woman in Damascus, she killed her husband and the children had the right to do qisas and they didn't do anything. وقد أقرت بالقتل ولم يلزمها شرعا فحبست مدة ثم أخرجت وأطلقت. Right? So this woman she actually killed her husband. So that's different. So next time your wife does something, say, has she tried to kill you? No. You're doing good. Right? You're doing good. Right? And it sounds funny, but it's important because many people they don't they the Prophet ﷺ, he said, look at people who are worse off than you and don't look at people who are better than you. Because if you do that, you will thank Allah's blessings. Right? So what do people do? They look online. This is what happened on TV. This is a marriage on TV. That's not reality. What people show about their marriage is not reality. So then they compare, well, they're happy. Why am I not happy? It's not reality. It's not reality. Right? What's on TV? Right? So TV is a big facade because it makes people think situations are not true. It's like that's everybody else in the world is happy and I'm miserable. Everybody else is wealthy and I'm poor. It's not like that. Right? And so you look at people, when you talk to people, and you realize how difficult situations are. Right? Difficult. This person has this problem. This person has that problem. This person has this problem, and then you realize my marriage is pretty good. My husband's pretty good. My wife is pretty good. Compared to many situations. And he said the author of the book himself, he said a woman tried to kill him or injure him, right? And so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was kind to him and protected him, right? Okay. Just skipping some of these stories here. Okay, a story of Abu Zayd al-Qayrawani. This is a 2nd century scholar. He said, with this chain transmission, he said, كانت له زوجة سيئة العشرة. So he said, this man, his name is Sheikh Abu Muhammad ibn Abi Zayd. من العلم والدين في المنزلة المعروفة. He was a great scholar and religious man. كانت له زوجة سيئة العشرة. He had a wife who was very difficult to live with. وكانت تقصر في حقوقه, and she did not give him his rights. وتؤذيه بلسانها. She used to insult him with with her tongue. فيقال له في أمرها فيعذر بالصبر عليها. And people would say like, why do you put up with her? It's crazy. Why'd you do that? And then he would say, no, I'll be patient. I'll be patient. وكان يقول أنا رجل قد أكمل الله علي النعمة في صحة بدني ومعرفتي وما ملكت يميني فلعلها بعثت عقوبة على ذنبي فأخاف إن فارقتها أن تنزل بي عقوبة هي أشد منها. He said, I am somebody whom Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has blessed me in so many ways. My body is healthy. Allah made me very intelligent. I'm very wealthy. And I think it's possible that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent me this wife as a punishment. So I have certain sins here and there. Allah blessed me with all these things. Allah sent me this punishment. I'm scared if I divorce her, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will send me another punishment that's even worse. So I'm happy, I'll deal with this punishment instead. Right? And that's and we know that in general, right? We know the Prophet ﷺ said that the believer is amazing. Everything is good for him. If something good happens, he's thankful and he has a reward. And if something bad happens, then he's patient and gets a reward. So you're asking for nothing to bad happen to you. Why? Right? So we know that you're driving down the road and you get a flat tire, that's good for you. Similarly, you have a wife or a husband that says something they shouldn't have said, that's not nice. That's good for you. So you should be positive. You say, Alhamdulillah, as opposed to, why did this happen? That doesn't make sense. Just like you have a flat tire, right? Muslims who say, Inshallah, because everything's in Qada and Qadar, right? So everything's part of that picture. And on top of that, the Prophet ﷺ, he told us, he said, whenever a woman is rude to her husband, the Hur al-Ain stand behind him and say, sister, you only have him for a short time, and soon he's going to come with us. So do you want the Hur al-Ain to say that, or do you not want them to say that? Probably if you were in Jannah, you would ask and say, Allah, I have one request. I want to go back to the dunya and pay my wife to insult me. I will pay her $100 a day to insult me. Because imagine how many times the Hur al-Ain would say, they're all waiting, lining up behind you saying, sister, you only have him for a short time. Soon he's going to be with us. Right? So this is the life we don't, whenever we see difficulties, we don't understand what Allah's doing. But that's the whole point. Right? The whole point of life is there's going to be difficulties, right? The Prophet ﷺ told us as well. He says a believer will stay on the face of the earth continually plagued by difficulties until he reaches Allah with no sins. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is helping you out. He's helping you out by sending you difficulties, this difficulty, that difficulty, right? And the greater the greater the difficulty, the greater the reward. The greater the difficulty, the more it's going to wipe out mistakes that you did, right? So unless you're perfect and you don't have any mistakes, then it's good. It's good for you. Alhamdulillah. Okay, I'm going to skip ahead one more story, inshallah. Okay, so this is a slight long story, so I'll try and keep it short. So Al-Qadi Iyad, he had written a book. I don't know which book it was, but Qadi Iyad is a very famous, huge Andalusian scholar. So we mentioned before, everything happened in Spain and Central Asia. Today, Spain is gone, disappeared. Because why? Muslims kill each other. That's why. Simple as that. The Muslims, they divided into small cities. Each city had their own kingdom, and then they killed each other. And then the Christians came in and killed them all, and then tortured them to death. Right? And who was being looked after by the Muslims? The Jews. So the Jews, they lived under the Muslims in Spain. They had freedom, and they had schools, and they had great philosophers, etc. And then when the Christians came in, they tortured the Muslims and the Jews and the Protestants, right? And you can go there today, you can go and see the places where they tortured them, the torture chambers and horrible things. There was one person who was there, he threw up. You see what they used to do, horrible things, right? So anyway, this is what happens when Muslims. So why did Muslim Spain fall apart? Because Muslims fight each other. Why did your family fall apart? Husband and wife fight each other. Simple. Have good akhlaq, the house will stay together, the ummah will stay together. So don't talk about the ittihad of the ummah. Don't talk about unity of the ummah if you can't be bothered to be patient. Because it's not going to work. Bismillah.
At the end of discussion, when we finished,
Yes.
I have a question that I can ask.
Bismillah.
Yeah.
Inshallah. I will try and,
Yeah.
this is a few lines, I'll try and keep it short, inshallah. So anyway, so this scholar, he visited Al-Qadi Iyad and he had written a book. And so this book was really, really important. So he said, please, I have one copy of this book. One copy of this book. Please, I want you to read it and I want you to comment on it. So he gave him this one copy and he says, please, I only have written one copy. It's handwritten. So please don't lose it, right? And he said, I will look after it, don't worry. So the scholar then took it home and he spent the whole night reading the book. He's reading the book, reading this. It was an essay, a small book. And وكانت له زوجة أخذت تراوده وهو لا يلتفت إليها لاشتغاله بالقراءة. And his wife came along and she was trying to get his attention. But he was saying, no, I need to read this book. And there's a book, I need to read the whole thing and I need to tell the sheikh right, wrong, corrections, etc. فلما أذن الفجر خرج للمسجد للصلاة ولإقراء العلم. So when Fajr came, he went to go and pray and he went to go and teach. وحينما عاد لبيته وقت الظهيرة اشتم عند دخوله رائحة لم يكن يعهدها عفوا. When he came home, there was a funny smell. So he went to the masjid, taught the class, came back, and it was like dhuhr time, he can smell something in the house. فسأل زوجته ما أعدت لنا من طعام على الغداء على الغداء. Yeah. There's a different smell. What have you made for lunch? فأجابته سوف تراه, you'll see. فلما وضعت الطبق على المائدة وجد فيه كتاب صاحبه الذي أعاره إياه محترقا. What did she do? On the plate was the book burnt to ashes. She had burnt the book to ashes.
That book
that he gave, and he said, please, I have one copy of it. Please look after it. And I need you to read it. I need you to check it. What did his wife do? His wife had burnt it. Why? Because the whole night you didn't look at me. I was trying to get your attention. You're like, oh, I'm reading the book. I'm reading the book. Okay. So in her world, it's your fault because you wronged me. That's in her world, right? In her world, you're the zalim. I'm not the zalim. I'm the just. Right? That's what we always have to understand. She in her world, she's just, right? Right. أحرقته زوجته من شدة غيظها وغضبها منه حيث لم يلتفت إليها ليلة البارحة فوقع في يده واغتم بما جرى. So he was very upset. Said, "Oh my God, what am I going to do?" Right? This is Qadi Iyad, right? Super famous sheikh, right? You just burnt his one manuscript. وقام وأخذ قلما وأوراقا وصار يكتب ما علق بباله من مطالعة الكتاب. So he said, well, at least I can write my notes from the book. He asked me to read it and then comment. So at least I can start writing some of the things. ثم ذهب به إلى صاحبه الفقيه وقال له انظر هل ينقص منه شيء فتصفحه صاحبه قال لا فقال له لا ينقص منه شيء فعجبت من الحكاية حيث لم يسبق لي رأيته في كتاب. I can't. That's where the story ends. It doesn't see. I can't see how the sheikh responded. قال لا ينقص منه شيء. No, I see what happened. He started writing his notes, and he said, Sheikh, is there anything missing? And he said, no, nothing's missing. So from his own notes that he wrote in his comments, the Sheikh was very impressed. It's like, yeah, that's good. It's good. So subhanAllah, maybe because he was patient, Allahu A'lam. So, has that happened to you? Did your wife burn the check? Did she burn your passport? Did she turn your car on and drive it off the cliff? Right?
Not yet.
Not yet. Not yet. After this class, she'd be like, you have the fatwa from the Sheikh. She's like, well, mashallah. Allahu musta'an. Okay, Bismillah. Shall I go ahead, Uncle?
Actually, we know that, so Alhamdulillah, we are appreciating your time to spend with us. Alhamdulillah, we learn a lot. We try to practice it, but in my mind, the reality is here that the society is 50-50. All we hear the whole time you are here about the wives. There is no ulama. All whatever we heard from the men, that they have written a book, written essay with all kind of things. We hear from all sheikhs. What happened is there no any other women ulama that has written about their husband, what the atrocities are in the world of men. They are abusing the women all over the world, day and night. We haven't heard anything about the husband. All we hear about the wife. What happened?
Okay, good question. So for those online, the uncle's asking the questions like, here is talking about being patient with women who abuse their husbands. What about the other around? So number one, 100%. My dad told me this. My dad was in Pakistan, right? My dad lived in Pakistan, and other places are the same. He's not saying anything about Pakistanis. He said, he's like, never go to Pakistan and never marry. He was in Pakistan and he married someone from Pakistan. But he said, never go to Pakistan and never marry anybody from Pakistan. And don't learn Urdu, right? I was like, I want to learn Urdu. He said, no. It's like he said, they have nothing good to say. Nothing, right? And one point he said, how many a woman in Pakistan is punched through a door? Like she's punched so hard she goes through the door. That's just normal life. Sheikh Nu'man Ali Khan, he was talking about this the other day. The drama that kind of happened. And you see the same thing in Afghanistan. Afghanistan women who are so depressed they set fire to themselves. Because I prefer to either die or at least be burnt to a crisp so nobody looks at me. And these things happen. Yes, it's a huge problem. And again, I was talking to another brother recently, and I was talking about this thing, and he's like, "Oh, that's because they're not educated. Like, oh, people abuse their domestic abuse. They beat their wife up because they're not educated." And I was like, "You have to be educated to know that." It's like, "Oh, I didn't go to madrasa, that's why I didn't know that." So like somebody, for example, there's a chick, and somebody stamps on a chick. And you're like, why did you stamp on the chick? Oh, is that haram? It's like, how did you know that's not haram? Like, who had to teach you rahmah? Isn't rahmah like obvious? Like, you're not rahim, you have no rahmah, right? And I was making the point to the person, like somebody who says, I'm Muslim. A Muslim is an insan who accepts Allah. If you're not an insan, how can I help you? Right? There's many people that you're not insan to begin with. There's no insaniyah to begin with. So that's true. That's number one. Number two is that is the case, and that's on a bigger level though. So here I'm talking about how we as men and we as married men can keep society together by being patient, and how we have to be more understanding, and how most of us aren't in this bad situation, right? That situation is much bigger. That's a much bigger issue. I don't know how it can be solved because it's so big, like so big, so ridiculously big. So I don't know. I honestly, it's beyond my capability to talk about it meaningfully, and it's different from different places. So Afghanistan, Pakistan, the Arab world is very different. It's not the same. They have other problems, but it's not the same. So I don't know. But it's a very good question. So alhamdulillah, they have in MCC they have like shelters there for sisters. They have these kind of workshops, but it's like a huge problem, like a huge problem on many levels. Wallahu a'lam. And some of this helps, right? When you say be patient, it means many people they think, oh, I can just do whatever I want to my wife. That's not true. You're the one who's to be patient. So Allahu a'lam. So it's not really a good answer, but it's the best answer I have.
I have one question.
Bismillah.
So you said that Orion is saying that we will welcome him, but the Orion is saying to the wives of the man, and they are waiting in the heaven
Mhm.
to welcome the man.
Yes.
What is the other side?
Yeah, so that's a very good question. So the Prophet ﷺ, he was asked, I think one of the wives was asked by Sahabiya, she said, Ya Rasulullah, if a woman was married more than once in the dunya, right? She was married more than once in the dunya, who will she be with? You know, she was married, her husband died, or she got divorced, and then she got married again. Who will she be with in Jannah? And so the Prophet ﷺ said, she will be with the one with the best khuluq, the one with the best character. Okay, so that's one thing. Obviously, she's going to be with the one who is kindest to her. But did the Prophet ﷺ say, oh, it's okay, she will be with both? She didn't say that. So some women, they'll say, oh, in Jannah, just like a man who could have multiple wives, women will also have multiple wives. Multiple husbands, sorry, multiple husbands, right? Is that the case? Allahu alam, I'm not saying that as aqidah, right? Aqidah is what we know with qata', like khalas, this is one possible. I'm not saying Allahu alam, Allah knows best, but it doesn't seem to be the case at all. And now, why is that the case? Just like if you ask, for example, will a homosexual have a husband in Jannah? No. He was somebody who, for example, he had this problem. He was inclined towards men, and he said, no, this is haram. I'm not going to do that. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give him the ajr that in Jannah will he be with a man? No, he will not be with a man. Because that's not tayyib, it's not something nice. Right? Will a drug addict be allowed to have drugs in Jannah? No, because it's not nice. Right? And similarly, it's not of the fitrah. It's not of the fitrah. So men by nature are polygynous. That's the nature of a man. And nature of a man is that you are interested in more than one woman. That's your nature. So many women, they have a problem. They're like, you know, why are you like that? But that's your nature, right? It's like telling the dog, don't move. Don't move. Like you have to take a dog for a walk, right? SubhanAllah, I'm comparing men to a dog, you know. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying it's the nature, right? A cat will lie there and do nothing for hours. That's not the nature of the dog. The nature of the dog is it moves around. It's not its nature. So if you don't take a dog for a walk, that's haram. You can't do that. Get rid of the dog then. But you can't have the dog and say, sit, sit, sit. It doesn't work like that. So the nature of a man is they're polygynous, meaning they're interested in more than one woman. That's their fitrah. That's how they are. That's how they are. And the nature of a woman is that she is, what's it called? Hypergamous. She's looking for the best husband. So she's trying to find the best husband, and he's trying to find the most women. So what happens then in society is you get polygamy, because she's trying to find the wealthiest, most handsome, most powerful husband, even if he has another wife. And he is trying to find as many wives as possible. That's how the nature of mankind is, right? I'm just talking about the dunya, how the dunya works. Similarly, physically, right? Physically, if a woman is intimate with more than one man, who is the child? It doesn't work, right? That doesn't work. That's not the fitrah, right? So she's not built for that. Whereas he is built for that. He has multiple wives. These are my children, right? So in Jannah, for example, you have children, right? There's no difficulty in being pregnant. There's no difficulty in giving birth. We can have children. Whose children are they? Right? So it's not of the fitrah. So a woman's like, hey, that's not fair. Sue Allah. Take Allah to court. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, stand before Allah and Allah, I feel madloom. It's not like, it's not part of your fitrah. So yes, there are women who do that in the dunya. There are women who want to be with lots of men. but do they feel happy? You know, it's like there are people who do drugs, but do you really feel happy? Or you go and talk to her, you have a friend at work and she's a lesbian. She lives with her wife, right? Does she really feel happy? No. But she says, yeah, yeah, and this is my right, and I feel good, and it's fine, you know. Or you have a friend who's homosexual, and it's like, you're not actually happy, brother, right? You're not actually a happy individual. You're living a life that's not actually happy, right? So it's not the nature of things, right? So the nature of men is they want more than one woman, and the nature of women is they want the best husband. So they're trying to go up, and he's trying to go sideways, right? So that's the nature. And so whenever somebody fights fitrah, you always have a problem. I learned that very late as a dad. And once I had my kids were on the balcony, and they had a little chick, okay, and I told my boys, I said Mikal was 3, I think, and Abdulrazak was 2. So I said, there's a chick on the balcony. Don't just be very quiet because it's gonna get scared. Okay, don't say anything. So I come back and they're chasing the chick round and round and round in circles. I get really angry with them and I punish them. And a brother says, Fareed, it's a 3-year-old. A 3-year-old cannot not chase the chick. Like, it's your fault. You shouldn't have punished him. You're a valim. They're not a valim. You're a valim. And so so I'm fighting fitrah. You're fighting the nature, right? It's like you have a problem, just like someone's trying to change gender. No, I feel I'm a woman. You have a problem, brother. Like you're trying to fight something, right? Oh, but I'm not as strong as the other boys. I'm not as okay. That's okay. You can be weaker than the other boys. You can be shorter than the other boys. You don't have to change your gender, right? So people have a problem. You're not embracing reality. You're not embracing reality, right? And many sisters, obviously, it's difficult. How can I think of my husband? Like in Jannah, he'll have at least 2 wives. I can't accept that. Obviously, it's difficult as a woman, obviously. But sister, you need to become more mature. And like your husband is not a cat, he's a dog. Right? He's not like I guess. Yeah. The word I'm sure in Bangla, in Arabic is you can't even say the word. You can't even say the word, like the word dog. You couldn't say it. It's like a castle. But his nature. Or let's take a better example. You are married. You think your husband is a cat, but he's a tiger. The tiger's not going to stay in the house. You put a tiger in a cage, that's not good. Tiger needs 50 square miles, right? So you're like, why is I get the sense my husband's like, he thinks like that. Even if I'm his only wife, he thinks like that. That's because he's a man. Your son, your brother, your dad, they're all the same. That's called a man. That's what men do, how men think, right? And similarly, as a woman, the woman is always like, I wish my husband was better, right? Why is she always on your case? I want my husband to be better. I want him to be wealthier. I want him to be nicer. I want him to be stronger. I want him this, like, so you're always looking at me like, what's wrong with me? Because that's how she thinks. She wants to go up. She's trying to go up, right? For gene reasons, right? The genes, if she has a better husband, then her children will be better. And if you have more wives, you'll spread your genes. It's evolution. That's how it is. It's evolution. There's nothing strange about it. But the problem is, so then that's why the woman is always criticizing her husband because he wants her husband to be better, right? She wants to find something. She's trying to go up, right? And that's why, all the women in the world, they wanted to marry Elvis or whatever because like he's this film star, he's the best. They all want to marry the king because that's how they work. They are hypergamous, meaning they're trying to go up, right? So they want the best possible husband. You want the most possible wives, right? That's how it is. So, brother, sister, you have a problem with fitrah, right? Then go and change your gender. Go and change. I don't know. You have a problem. You have a problem. So instead of harming yourself, embrace nature. Just embrace it, right? It's important to understand that, right? May Allah help us all. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdik. So anyway, if you go home and your passport's burnt and your birth certificate's burnt, and the letter that your dad gave you saying that I love you, my son, and do this is burnt, then alhamdulillah rabbil alameen, right? You're on the madhab of the salihin, inshallah. Wa sallallahu ala sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam.
Especially if you have handwritten one copy of the